Imagine, if you will, a world where Mario never moved to 3D, where Link never learned to sail, or Kratos never had a son. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty bleak reality, doesn't it? I don't know. But what I do know is that video games have to change. They have to evolve over time or they will not survive. Unless you're League of Legends. How do they do that? Welcome back to Potentially Perfect, home of the world's most captivating gamers. My name's Delapo, and today I want to talk about the evolution of video game franchises. Now, I know this isn't a particularly fresh idea for the channel, as I have done at least one video on this before, but that was like super unorganized. It was just a chat with people, so I want to do a more organized video because something happened. A rumor came out about a Star Fox leak, and people have reacted. We're going to get into that, and I just want to talk about that very briefly. Let's get started. Beings are creatures of habit. Without something familiar to tie us down, sometimes we can break down. I do believe that this is to our detriment at times. It keeps us from experiencing new and wonderful things a lot of times. For the longest time for me, it was that with turn-based RPGs. I just always looked at them, I always thought they were super boring, and then I got to playing a lot of them and found that I really love them. But we'll get to that later. People like what they are used to. As I mentioned before, proper video game iteration is something that I have discussed before. The idea that a franchise can and should move forward with time is not a foreign one, but it's something that is often met with resistance. And it should be noted that proper video game iteration is what cements your brand into popular culture. That's the reason why when Mario picks up a new sport, be it a golf club or a tennis racket or even basketball, no one bats an eye at Mario's viability as a brand. And personally, I think it has a lot to do with how early a brand receives iteration or evolution within its lifetime. Things don't have to be ultra complex, things don't have to change everything from the ground up, but something there needs to retain its familiarity, and I get that, okay? But I do also understand that just because a game franchise has an offshoot or a side game does not mean that things will disappear for the main line. Here are a few examples. Super Mario Bros. 2 is quite the departure from its predecessor. As you know by simply playing it, the game takes an approach away from side-scrolling to vertical scrolling, as well as killing enemies through things like throwing items and other enemies to kill enemies. The Legend of Zelda 2 takes a similar approach in that it moves away from the isometric top-down solely to introduce sections where there is side-scrolling combat and a little bit of platforming there, as well as extremely light RPG elements. Each installment of Mario Kart adds something new to the mix, be it 2 kart racers at a time, to motorcycles and ATVs, to introducing zero gravity. And there is something to be said once again about the resistance. I'm sure that each one of these titles, and I'm focusing on Nintendo specifically because the rumor is a Nintendo rumor, because each one of these probably had its detractors. There are spin-off franchises right now that people consider to be even better than the mainline games. And it's not rocket science. It makes business sense to keep franchises going, to keep them in people's minds through side projects and mainline games. This brings us to Star Fox, a much less evolved franchise. It is no fault of our own that Star Fox hasn't progressed very well. Nintendo did try to evolve the series, bringing on-land combat through the fact that Star Fox got out of his R-Wing to shoot things with a staff on a dinosaur planet. But I mean, this is a game series about anthropomorphic animals flying ships through space, so nothing seems outlandish after that. Either way, it didn't go particularly well for Nintendo, and I will put the blame on Nintendo. The game has a myriad of problems that I can't go into right now, but it still has nostalgia for some, and we don't talk to those people. But what I can say, it was a step in the right direction. Nintendo was trying to broaden what Star Fox means. And what I mean is, honestly, I don't see the audience for spacefaring dogfights being so large that it rockets Star Fox back into popularity. It just won't. I'm sorry. It won't happen. But there's nothing wrong with niche games. I want to note that. So this brings us back to the Star Fox Grand Prix rumor. Now this game, as the rumor suggests, is a racing game based on the Star Fox franchise. As we get closer and closer to E3, these things tend to happen. There'll be an outlandish rumor over here, followed by a not so outlandish rumor over here, and it gets really crazy. But this particular one took my interest because there has been no confirmation whatsoever that this is a real title. There are people who are keeping an extremely open mind about this, and I commend them for it. There are people like me who are being cautiously optimistic about this being a real thing, and if it is, hey, we'll give it a try. And then there's the rest. And oh boy, do they want to see the internet burn. I'm not here to change minds. I've tried it before and it does not work because the more you argue with people on the internet, the more rigid they tend to become. Confirmation bias. So there's that. I just think that a wait and see approach is warranted. The idea that a rumor can generate this much backlash is mind-blowing to me. I mean, it isn't even confirmed yet. These are volatile waters, people. But I do want to note something though. When Pokemon got pinball games and trading card expansions and even a fighting game, it never stopped Game Freak from producing mainline titles. No matter what, I still think you're gonna get your Star Fox. I think you're gonna get your F-Zero mainline fix. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is an opportunity for Nintendo to expand what Star Fox means to people. And I think that's a great thing if it is true. Because I don't know that it is. I really don't think it is, but I don't know that it is. Either way, this is a welcome, in my opinion, addition to the lineup that Star Fox is. Enjoy your side games, enjoy your spin-offs. Okay, guys, take it all in. Enjoy games, all right? Because frankly, I don't know that I'd want to live in a universe where Donkey Kong didn't exist. Stay perfect.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to sound off in the comments if you liked what you saw. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. If you didn't, hey, sorry to hear that, but you might like something else on the channel. Who knows? And if you got the time, make sure to check all the links in the bio. Got things from our merch store to our Twitters, and hell, might be a giveaway in there.